Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, it's something a little different. I'm starting off a new series, which is reviews on various scooter parts. I'm going to be doing completes, decks, parts like bars, SCSs, wheels, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to be starting off with stuff that I have on hand, which I have over to the left of me. I have like 6 decks, actually, yeah, 6 decks, another whole complete scooter, and the Prodigy GS8, which is already going to be a review coming on that. But today, starting off the series strong, we're going to be doing the Ethic Vulcan deck. So Ethic, a while back, came out with the Iconoclast, which ran 12 standard when they made the Calypso wheels, which was their big innovation. It was a 12mm axle instead of an 8mm axle, which we'll get more into that later. But this was their idea for an aftermarket 12 standard deck, because the Iconoclast did come out aftermarket, but it originally was, I don't remember if it was originally a complete, or no, it was a deck kit. It had everything except for grip tape, bars, grips, and a clamp. So they wanted to push out, and it wasn't 5 wide, it was only 4.9, so they wanted to get into the 5 wide market, which was the answer with the Vulcan. So the Vulcan comes 5.1 wide, and it comes in 2 sizes. I have the 20.9, also comes in 22, and it comes in 2 colors. It comes in matte black and raw. By the way, this was Keegan's deck that I ended up getting. It has custom paint on the top, some purple there, and then the back end, obviously. So none of that comes on. It would just be flat matte black and the white on the break, but that doesn't come on either. Back on my notes, see what else there is. So this one, the 20.9, like I said, comes in at 3.125 pounds, and the 22 comes at 3.312 pounds. So pretty light for how big it is. It's made out of 6061 T6 aluminum. The head tube, pretty detailed. So the Iconoclast was built off of the Pandemonium. Basically had the same exact head tube. This one was built a little different. It's something that they haven't done before, because they had the Lindworm and then they had the Pandemonium, but this is a whole new design. And it's a 83-degree head tube angle. So great angle in my opinion. It comes 12 standard compatible, which 12 standard means it's a 12mm axle instead of the 8mm, and it is 30 wide by 125 in diameter. We're going to be going over that in more detail in a couple minutes, or actually, it's one of the next things, I think. 1 second. Yeah, so actually, oh, and the deck does have concave on it. I couldn't find the exact specs. All the specs I got are either off of Ethic's website, the Vault Pro Scooters, or I think I got the head to, no, I got the weight off of Skate Pro. But all of them just said concave, then yes. It didn't say the degree, so I'm not sure. I'm guessing 3 or no, because my North has 3, this is probably like 4. It says way more than that. And at least it feels like it's more. Oh, and the back end is cut for pegs, because the Ethic 12 standard pegs are huge to fit that axle head. So that's why it's cut like that. And this also does come in a box version, which has a box front end and rear end, but that's more expensive and is heavier. So they sell it as a whole complete deck. You can't really, the specs aren't exactly the same. And it comes in, the price I got off of the Vault was $138.95 for whatever side. They're both the same price and the color is the same. So I'm going to move the camera angle and we're going to talk more about the back end and the wheels. Okay, so now we're going to go over what a 12 standard wheel is. But I'm going to start off with, this is an average wheel. This is a Proto Gripper, the Jake Sorensen Signature Edition. Doesn't really matter. Most people run 110 by 24 wide wheels and an 8mm axle, which is, I do have one on hand actually right here. This is the axle out of a Pandemonium. We're going to take it out of these spacers, which I'll get into in a sec. So this is a normal 8mm axle. Fits in. Proto bearing spacers don't like to stay aligned in the wheel all the time, so fits in there good. Now, this one has spacers that I put in to fit an 8mm axle, but if you see that outer ring, that is what's, actually I can try and push these out real quick. This might be a little hard. Yeah, that's not coming out. Try this one. I'm not getting that out. But I put spacers in there because I don't have a 12 standard fork to fit the axle, but I learned this from Max Peters. He made a video on it. If you have a fork that fits 125 by 30 wide, you can put wheel bearing spacers from a normal wheel in here, and it'll fit the 8mm axle in there perfectly. So I don't have an actual, like a not modded 12 standard wheel to show you. This wheel is brand new, however. I only have one at the moment. I'm getting some more in like a week, and then we'll be able to actually test out 12 standard wheels. But what I used to test this deck today and what I've been riding are NV Lambo wheels. The other one's on my fork. This is, the core is 24, the urethane's 26 wide, and they're 120mm big. These are pretty standard for a lot of people who run 120s. A lot of them run NV wheels, a little thicker than a 110 by 24, but if you buy Lucky wheels, they come 24 wide by 120 or in 110, whichever you like. But getting into 12mm standard, this is the axle for a 12mm, and this is the axle for an 8mm. You can put the 8mm inside of the 12mm axle. If I went to put this in a normal one, in a normal bearing, it's bigger than the outer ring. I can actually still put it in a little bit in this one, but you can see how much bigger this outer ring here is. Don't pay attention to the spacer inside, but this ring here, you can see how much bigger that is than one on this Proto. And you can also see that with a spacer for, this is the spacer for a Vulcan deck. That is a lot bigger. Actually, no, go this way. That's a lot bigger than a normal deck spacer. Now to put this in perspective, so like I said, this is a 8mm axle off the Ethic Pandemonium. All normal axles are 8mm. A BMX bike rear axle on a good BMX bike is 14mm in like diameter, and this is a 12mm. So we're almost verging on a BMX bike's sized of axle. And it also a full hollow axle to make it light, and has 6mm axle, or not 6mm, 6mm bolt heads. They're like Allen key heads, so if you have 6mm Allen key, fits in there. But what Ethic did was, because not everybody, this wheel in most places are $50 a piece. That's how much they are in the vault. Some places have them for like 40, a little cheaper, but this is an expensive wheel, whereas a Lambos, for say, would be $30 a piece, and a set of Protos is $80. Thinking about $100 worth of wheels, or 70 or 80, like, that's a lot more money. But because it's so big, I mean, it's not. And what Ethic wanted to do with the 12 standard was, we're using skate bearings, which are made for 4 wheels dispersing. We're running 2 wheels and putting a lot more stress, so they're just not as good. So then they came up with the bigger bearing. But what they did was included it in the Vulcan. You get these little conversion spacers to run. You put it in the back of the deck, which I'll show you. One goes on the inside of the deck, one goes on the outside, and then you put an 8mm axle. Now, an axle, at least on most sites, I found one site, I think it was Cryptic Pro Skiers, but I could be wrong. Or no, it was Gizmania or something. The site that made the knockoff John Ray's wheels not too long ago. They ship with an axle, but it's probably not a good axle. But everywhere else, you don't get an axle, you don't get an 8mm, you get a 12 standard, but you still get the conversion spacers. You just don't get an 8mm axle to fit these. So you'd have to buy one separate. But the way this works, basically, I'm only going to do one. Obviously that's a really big hole, so what you do is, now because these are a little wider, I'm not actually going to put a wheel in it, but because these are wider, I normally put one in, slip the wheel, and then the other. But this bigger piece, this actually acts as your deck spacer too then. Bigger piece goes in this side, smaller piece goes on the outside, and then you're good. You're good to go. You can run an 8mm. Actually, I'll put both of them in. Actually, you know what, I'll do this. So I can do that, one on that side. I'm going to put the 110. I wouldn't want to run a 110 because this brake is made for a 12mm wheel, so it's going to be a massive brake gap. So, and then that would fit like that, and then you would tighten it down. And like I said, if you ran a 110, that is a big gap. And on the bottom too. But if you were to run a 12 standard, I can't actually put the 12 standard wheel on it. I just realized that because the spacers wouldn't fit. I can just like set it in there though. I forgot about that. Because I put those bearing spacers in there, I would have to use these, and these don't fit because they're not made for 31. But I can just like set the axle in there, so that works. Actually, I can do this. I didn't think this through that much. I just put those spacers in last night to test if it would fit on a fork. By the way, if you guys have a Prodigy S8 fork, or the Prodigy V2, the one that comes on the S8, you can run 12 standard wheels if you do this trick. And get 30 mil spacers. Why is this not fitting? Oh yeah, because bigger wheel. Duh. So you can see that gap. This is actually a 110 brake that he can put on here. I have to get the 12 standard brake from him, which is gonna be a little bigger. But you can see that gap is filled a lot more, and that wheel is huge. So I'm gonna take this back out before I drop something. But oh yeah, and I forgot to mention these just come with the standard bottom-mounted Ethic flex brakes. I really like these brakes. I now have 2 Ethic setups, and I'm loving them both. But so that's what the whole 12 mil standard is. I think it's a pretty cool idea. Also, that blue Keegan did that too. He likes customizing parts, which is pretty sick. But it definitely gets expensive. Ethic, like any 12 mil. I know Urban Art came out with some of them, but they're kind of going out of business now. So those are very hard to find. But I do want to do a 12 standard video soon because I'm going to start running it. Because, I mean, if I put this up against a 120, that's a lot bigger, a lot wider. And everybody I've talked to that rides 12 standard always said bowls are a lot more faster, grippier. Like if you like pumping around bowls, it's a lot funner. And for street riding, having that more urethane, it's more durable, and the wider urethane just helps with. They did say though with spin tricks, it's a little hard to get used to because when you go to like do a 360 on flat ground, it grips a little before, whereas this one would slide and then go. This will like grip you and throw. But I'm gonna put my scooter back together. We're going to Keck Skate Park and get some clips, and then I'll let you guys know my opinion on the deck. So let's get going. Okay, so final opinions on the Ethic Vulcan deck. First off, my computer behind me, I was supposed to have it on the Vault website with the Vulcan deck showing, and it went in sleep mode, and that's why it said no signal, and I didn't notice until after I filmed that clip. So, yeah. And too lazy to reshoot it. But, so, my thoughts on the Vulcan deck. I really like it. The concave's nice, especially when doing any kind of, like, multiple whips. I did a lot of double whips today, and having that like hook on your foot almost, being able to kick the whip harder is really nice. And also for how short it is, I'm surprised of how nice it is for fakies and manuals. The manuals on this feel awesome. And even though the way this back end is shaped, it's still locked into Feebles pretty nicely. I would like to be running 12 standard wheels, but the 120s are working fine. There's not that big of a brake gap. It's a little heavy just because I'm running SCS and steel bars. If you're running like aluminum or even tie with SCS, it wouldn't be that heavy. It'd still be pretty light because Keegan rode rode IHC with an HSC conversion shim and then tie bars, and it was pretty light. Obviously you can't really get it under 3 pounds because, well, you could if you cut the deck out, but like base model you can't really get it under 3 pounds because the deck is over 3 pounds. Like, well, I forget what I said, but it was 3 something. But I just really like the way it was balanced. Bar whips seem really easy because as soon as you catch the bar, you can kick it a lot quicker than, say, my Erewhon deck, for example, which I have not ridden much lately because there's nowhere to ride it really. I can't really tell you how this thing feels on like a mini ramp, like a spine, or big box jumps because Penn State's closed, unfortunately, because of everything going on. I can't wait for them to be open back up because I want to ride big ramps so bad. And riding box jumps right now would be so fun. So as soon as they open back up, we're taking this year there. But I do have plans. Once I run 12 standard, because I have to run the fork off my Prodigy S8, I'm going to run the bars that came off of the Prodigy, which are NV thermal bars with a Prodigy sticker on them. I'd rather run the SES because these bars look sick on here, but I can't because I don't have an SES fork that fits 30 wide or 125s. So I'm going to be riding the Prodigy bars, but it'll be a little lighter because of the IHC, so that's pretty good, I guess. But that's really all there is to say about the Vulcan. I think it's a great, well-rounded deck. For the price, yeah, I think it's a good deal because you got something that can run 12 standard and normal wheels for only $138. That's a pretty good deal for what it is. And that makes it one of the cheaper Ethic decks because the Erewhon's $80. I think the Artifact is cheaper than this one, but the Artifact can't run 12 standard, so I think it's a good deal. And with the 83-degree head tube, it's great for street and like taller bars because of the more forward head tube, and it's still responsive. Like if it was 82.5 like the Erewhon, it'd be a lot more responsive, but a little more unstable at like higher speeds. It's all just like a learning curve. If you go from, like I have my Evo deck, which I don't have on right now because I'm running the Vulcan, and all these parts except for the wheels and fork are from the Evo. Going from my Erewhon to that, which was 82.5 to 83, big jump. It felt like I couldn't hop, it wasn't responsive, but once you get used to that bigger head tube angle, it's a lot nicer. Basically all the head tube angle means is the bigger the number, the more like forward it is, the lower the number, the more farther back the bars are, so the more they sweep towards you, and the bigger the head tube angle, the more they're in front of you. That's something like my North, that's 83.5. That's super different. And then if you have like a Juzzy deck that's 84, I couldn't even imagine how that would feel. I've never ridden an 84-degree head tube angle, but that would be pretty bad in my opinion. But I don't know. I want to get a Juzzy deck to ride. They're pretty cheap for what they are. There's no money for one right now, but soon hopefully. But yeah, I'm just gonna be riding this deck for a lot longer. The next review will be on my North deck, but I'm waiting. And there goes my Peterson again. I can actually set this down. I'm waiting on some stuff coming from the vault to actually be able to ride it, because I cracked my soul bars again, but I'm waiting for my SCS adapter so I can run those. And then we'll be able to do videos on that and do the review. And then I'm going to do the Evo, but I haven't actually clicked that card. Help me decide, should I do the Evo as the deck review or the complete? Because I got it as the complete. Or I could just do the deck, because they sell the deck aftermarket, and all the parts on the complete come aftermarket as well. And then I have, like, over in the corner there, I have the AO deck. I have my AOS V4. Actually, I'll show you guys. There is, in the top box there's the AOS, or no, there's a Fusion deck in the black box. In the Erewhon box, there's the AOS V3. My V4 is on top. Erewhon's in the corner up there. Prodigy S8 all the way to the bottom. North, I'm so 50, AO. We'll be doing something on that. Get out of the tripod. All these three up here, which we'll be doing Evo, KOS. This was my first ever scooter right here. We'll do stuff on that. But I hope you guys liked today's video. Hope you guys like this style of video. I'm going to be doing a lot more reviews because I like them. Huge shout out to Max Peters because he gave me this idea. I started watching his reviews. Thought they were sick, so I was like, yeah, I'm going to start doing this. My run is good because he gets parts for free. I don't. But yeah, we're going to be trying to do a lot more of this. And hopefully it turns out to something. But I hope you guys liked today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Turn on post notifications. And until next time, peace.